Konnichiwa from BA. This is a Rorschach Japan update from the 23rd of July 2024. A quick summary of what's going down in Japan. On Thursday, the 18th, police raided the offices and home of Manabu Hori, one of the lawmakers who took kickbacks from the Liberal Democratic Party's secret slush fund. Over the past 5 years, Hori received around 22 million yen or $140,000 in kickbacks. Hori had been giving condolence money to supporters whose family members died around 2022, and the police believe that he used the kickback money to do it. The condolence money ranged from 10,000 yen or $63 to several times that. All in all, he handed out several thousands of dollars. However, it's illegal for politicians to give money to their supporters unless it's specifically at a funeral and the politicians hand it over personally. According to investigations, he instead asked his secretaries to give the money. Moving on, companies around the world, from airlines to hospitals to news media outlets, had computer-related system failures on Friday the 19th because of a faulty Windows update. Japan Airlines couldn't take or change reservations on its website, while Jetstar Japan, another airline, had trouble with boarding procedures. In addition, shops and restaurants within Universal Studios Japan and about a third of McDonald's had to shut down entirely because their registers stopped working. Fortunately, CrowdStrike, a US cybersecurity firm, helped fix the problem, so systems returned to normal before long. The government also has a few problems to fix. On Wednesday the 17th, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida gave a formal apology to the victims of forced sterilization. This came after the Supreme Court declared Japan's former eugenics law unconstitutional and said that the government should compensate the victims. The law was put in place in 1948, sterilizing over 25,000 people until the government removed the law in 1996. Kishida expressed deep regret, acknowledging the severe harm caused to the victims. He said he would withdraw the government's statute of limitations defense to make it easier for victims to settle their lawsuits. The Japan Federation of Bar Associations is also helping victims file lawsuits. Since many of the victims are getting older and having health issues, they are asking for prompt compensation. In a follow-up to last week's show, the Pacific Islands leaders meeting wrapped up on Thursday the 18th. The leaders, which included Japan's Prime Minister and other leaders from Pacific Islands nations, agreed that they opposed China's military activity in the East and South China Seas, but some pushed back against the idea of joint military drills with Japan's self-defense forces. Kishida also asked the leaders for their understanding of the treated water release from the Fukushima Daiichi power plant, but not everyone was willing to offer their support. Want to know more about this summit? Check out the Ocean Update with the link in the show notes. Meanwhile, Japanese weather officials have issued warnings about an ongoing heatwave across much of the country, urging people to be careful of heat stroke. Notable high temperatures include 38 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Hamamatsu City, Shizuoka Prefecture, and Toyooka City, Hyogo Prefecture on Sunday the 21st. The meteorological agency expects the heat wave to continue into Tuesday the 23rd at least, predicting heights of 38 degrees Celsius in Kumagaya City, Saitama Prefecture, and Kofu City, Yamanashi Prefecture. The agency and Environment Ministry issued heat stroke alerts for 40 prefectures, advising residents to stay indoors, use air conditioning, stay hydrated, and keep an eye on infants and the elderly. As for what caused this heat wave, the meteorological agency created a panel of experts to investigate. They said it was because the sea around Japan is abnormally warm. They found that there were record high sea surface temperatures for June, with some areas of southeastern Hokkaido being 6 degrees Celsius or 11 degrees Fahrenheit, which is warmer than usual. Experts explained that the black current, or Kuroshio, a current on the west side of the North Pacific Ocean, is much further north than usual and is causing this marine heatwave. A warm sea reduces the number of clouds and the amount of fog, which means more sunlight comes through and heats things up. The seawater evaporating trapped even more heat. They warned that the ongoing marine heat wave will likely cause high temperatures again this summer in northern Japan. Back on land, 2 maintenance vehicles had an accident on the Tokaido Shinkansen bullet train line between Nagoya and Hamamatsu stations on Monday the 22nd. One of the drivers tried to brake, but the vehicle didn't slow down and rear-ended the other vehicle. The accident injured 2 workers. Central Japan Railway Company, the railway operator, stopped service between the 2 stations for the rest of the day while they repaired the railway. They made a public apology for the inconvenience and said they didn't know why the brakes didn't work properly. The lines reopened as normal on Tuesday the 23rd. In other news, the recent surge of tourism in Japan has prompted some restaurants to charge foreign travelers a higher cost than locals. Businesses that get a lot of tourist traffic said they have to increase costs to hire English-speaking staff and give travelers extra help since they have a harder time than locals understanding how things work. Popular tourist attractions are also thinking of creating foreigner-only fees to help with maintenance costs and reduce overcrowding. This type of dual pricing system is common in developing countries, and some are worried that using it in Japan could hurt the country's reputation. However, a loyalty point service company conducted a survey that found that nearly 60% of locals support the idea, with some suggesting that services like guides and non-local languages should instead be offered as extras. Meanwhile, Greenland police arrested Paul Watson, a noted anti-whaling environmentalist, on Sunday the 21st under a warrant Japan issued. The police will bring him to a district court before deciding whether they'll extradite him to Japan. Watson founded the Captain Paul Watson Foundation, or CPWF, and is most famous for directly confronting whaling ships while at sea. CPWF said they think the arrest is because Watson's ship chased after a new Japanese factory whaling ship called Kangei Maru, which Kyodo Senpaku, a whaling company, launched in May. Want to know more? Check out the Arctic update with the link in the show notes. In sports, the Japan Gymnastics Association announced on Friday the 19th that they forced Shoko Miyata, Japan's Olympic gymnastics team leader, to withdraw from the team after she admitted to underage drinking and smoking. The 19-year-old gymnast said she had drunk and smoked in June and July, even though the legal age for both in Japan is 20. Miyata had won multiple trophies and a bronze medal in the 2022 World Championships. Since the entry deadline for the Paris Olympics has already passed, the Japanese gymnastics team won't be able to add anyone to substitute. That means they'll compete with just 4 members instead of 5. Perhaps teen drinking shouldn't be too surprising since a recent government study showed that non-prescription drug abuse in Japan is highest among teenagers. The study estimated 650,000 people abused non-prescription drugs in the past year, with those aged 15 to 19 abusing at a rate of 1.5%. The second highest group was people in their 50s at 1.24%. The health ministry plans to ban people under 20 from buying large amounts of addictive over-the-counter drugs and increase education on overdose risks. The ministry conducted the study through mailed questionnaires and got 3,000 valid responses. 36% of respondents say they got the drugs from stores, but over half used an unknown source. Finally, in an interesting bit of trivia, Kiyotaka Kidajima, a photographer, took a photo from Ishigaki Island of a rare occurrence called a green flash. This refers to when the setting sun briefly glows green as it sinks below the horizon. It only happens when the air is very clear as sunlight bends through the atmosphere. You can see the photo yourself on Kidajima's Instagram account, link in the show notes. And that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much to everyone who filled in the survey over the past few weeks. We really appreciate your comments and ideas. Many of you mentioned you would like to get some more in-depth episodes and interviews. Is that something you would like? Do you have any topics in mind? Something specific about Japan that you want to know more about for us to do a special show on? We want to do some new things very soon. Please email us at info@rorschach.com. If you left an email to contact you in the survey, we'll reach out to you very soon. The survey is still linked in the show notes if you're interested in that as well. Matane!